what's needed for me right now is to just let go and just live. And I'm really looking forward to it. Welcome back to another weekly walking vlog. It is actually pretty late in the week right now. I'm on my way to work. And next week, Steven and I are traveling. We will be out of the country for a significant period of time. So I'm trying to get as much time in the office as possible before we leave, just to make sure all things are wrapped up the way they should be, and there'll be smooth sailing in the office while I am out. Stephen just got back from his conference in Denver this morning, actually. So I had a few days at home by myself during a full moon. There's the building for you. Yeah, the view that we can see of the bay that I showed you a couple weeks ago is quickly disappearing. There's a lot of lasts for Stephen and I when it comes to that view. The last time we'll see the street, the last time we'll see cars driving on the street, the last time we'll see the water in front of the street. Lots of lasts happening. Having some time by myself at home during the full moon really kind of got me thinking about the journey that I've been on. Obviously, I'm always thinking about that. But it got me thinking about how the moon cycles actually, and this is going to sound like so obvious to everyone else, but how our body's cycles, our menstrual cycles, naturally mimic the moon cycles, or vice versa. I mean, in some cultures it's called the moon cycle, so like the menstrual cycle is called the moon cycle. So yes, I feel like I'm saying something very obvious right now, but just having such a great view of it from our balcony, which we do, I just started like really being struck by the synchronization of that, I guess. Struck by the profound similarity between our bodies, our women's bodies, our hormone cycles, and the moon cycles. I thought that was kind of cool. I mean, I've been doing videos and talking about things like what the follicular phase, the ovulation phase, which is really like a 3-day period, and then the luteal phase, which I believe luteal phase is probably named after the moon phase. And it really is interesting how closely it resembles the moon phases. Then I got curious to see how my menstrual cycles actually line up with the moon cycles, and it was very interesting. That was very interesting as well, because as it so happened, I got my period on the full moon. So then I was like, well, what is that? Is that normal? Like, I mean, you would assume that either the full moon or the new moon is a typical time for women to ovulate. My mom told me, I think, that all of her babies were born on a full moon too. So there's definitely like some fertility moon connection that I've just heard about throughout my life from women. So I was like, I got my period during the full moon. What does that mean? How is that me being in alignment with nature? Because I think that's my overall point. Like, as I have become more in tune with my body's natural cycles, I feel closer and closer to nature herself. And that kind of naturally leads to this curiosity about the moon and the cycles of the earth and how those kind of larger cycles affect our lives and things like our fertility. I think that's where this is kind of coming from. Like, the more that I try to be as healthy as I can be, the more that I realize the things that are healthiest for us are actually the things that are closest to natural, to natural, the things that are closest to nature, the things that are, you know, the foods that we eat. The closer they are to their natural forms, the healthier they are for us. How we live, the more often we are in nature, the better our psychological and our mental health is. Even like the fabrics that we wear, the better they are for our skin, the more closer they are to natural fibers. Smells, scents, things in the air, things that we touch, things that we consume, all of it, the closer it is to its natural form, the better it is on not just a physical level for us, but an emotional and psychological level. And it would stand to reason that also on a spiritual level, that is what's best for us as well. I apologize for the roundabout way I'm getting to this because I actually didn't even really know what I was going to talk about. And so that's why I'm kind of coming around to this in a little rather circular fashion. But I think that is why I started wondering, because I've told you guys that I didn't really know what else I was going to talk about on these vlogs. Like, there's nothing really for me to change when it comes to my fertility. Like, I've done everything. The only next step is to go back to the IVF clinic, and I don't really want to do that. Like, it doesn't feel good to me to think about doing that. But essentially, I'm sensing that, well, the physical aspects of this journey I've pretty much got dialed in. I've got it dialed in. I'm doing all the things: food, movement, supplements. You name red light therapy, like acupuncture, all the natural things I can physically do for myself. I've pretty much exhausted all of those resources. But what about emotionally and spiritually? And I don't know. I don't know if that journey is over. I don't know if the emotional journey is over. And I don't know that your spiritual journey is ever over. So that's why I thought about the moon. And we will see how aligning at a deeper level with nature, if that can actually be helpful in an emotional way. And I'll talk more about that in the next segment. Enjoying my nice, actually done hair today. It always starts off looking nice, and then by the time I get to work, it's totally different from the way I started. I have noticed that thanks to this Miami air, but it's worth it to me to continue to walk to work, even if I don't look quite as professional by the time I get there. I feel like it's good to be outside. It's good to have this be part of my routine. I feel connected to the place that I live, the city that I live in, and my ability to move within it. And also all the construction workers, homeless people, dead rats, traffic, and other interesting things that I always see along the way. You see that I was not joking about the dead rats. I actually saw 2 yesterday. I think there must have been like an extermination event and they all came out to die on the sidewalks. So I'm just gonna tell you where I'm at in my cycle, which is cycle day 5. I think I've mentioned that I have travel. Steve and I have a 2-week vacation coming up in Ibiza. I'm really looking forward to that, honestly. I have a potential new direction I want to go when we get back when it comes to this fertility journey. I talked a little bit about potentially going back to the donor egg route, but I think I'm actually going to go to a different kind of doctor, not an IVF doctor, but not a naturopath, but one of the doctors that actually looks at your fertility from a holistic perspective. A NAPRO doctor, I think it's what it's called. Saw a podcast, Culture Apothecary, where one of these doctors was on there talking about all the things that they can do to actually find out the real root cause of infertility. And I really liked what he had to say. It sounds like there's a lot more routes to look into and discover when it comes to infertility at any age. So I've reached out to him, and that is probably the direction I'll be going when we get back. For the meantime, I just want to go to Ibiza and spend time with Steven, you know? I just want it to be us. It's going to be us anyway. Like, it would have been cool if I would have been pregnant, but I'm not. So I just want to enjoy this vacation with him. I want to drink wine on the plane. I want to wear pretty dresses. I want to do vacation-y things, relax on the beach. I want to listen to music, listen to DJs. I just want to feel young and alive and sexy and in love with my man. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm gonna let all this stuff go for a minute. And I think maybe it's really important in this journey to take breaks. It really is like a second job. There's so much that goes into it. It takes over every aspect of your life. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all of it. Even, the ability to be able to devote yourself to your career. It takes from everything, from every aspect. And it's good to take breaks from that. Feels like you shouldn't, especially at my age, right? Every cycle builds on the last cycle as far as like if you're trying to improve your health or improve your chances. And a lot of things that, like I've tried to improve. It takes like 3 months to actually even see good results from those improvements. So it can feel like you're constantly waiting for things to get better, but also you don't really have a chance to kind of step off the merry-go-round of improvements. Everything comes and goes in cycles and phases, like the moon, like our menstrual cycles, like the tides in the ocean. And so maybe even there's times to improve and times to just live. And I am feeling like what's needed for me right now is to just let go and just live. And I'm really looking forward to it. I obviously still very much want the things that I want in my life. And I have plans to go right back to that as soon as this phase is over. I'm going to take advantage of the opportunity that I feel like I've been given to really, really take a vacation from everything. I will ovulate while we are on vacation, and I will not miss that opportunity. Also, my basal body temperature has not dropped during the entire time that I was on my period. It's not gone down below the cover line, so I don't know what's going on there. ChatGPT seems to think that it means that my body is ready to ovulate sooner, since this last cycle was a little short. So I'll be testing with my LH strips the whole time that we're on vacation, so as to not miss ovulation. But I am fairly certain, even if the timing was exactly within the window that I normally get it, I would still be on vacation when it happens. So we'll be tracking that. And I'll be taking my supplements and eating healthy and stuff like that. But I'm gonna drink, I'm gonna dance, I'm gonna stay up late, I'm gonna have a good time, and I'm not going to worry about it. I will see you when I get back. Thanks for watching.